To speed up the process in building the Ogre application, we're going to use Ogre's example application framework. It has a lot of the functionality coded for us, and it's a good way to get started with Ogre. To do this, we'll need to add another include folder, so let's go and do that. Let's go to the property pages of the project. Then let's go to C++, down to General, Additional Include Directories, and as we've done before, let's click on the ellipse button here and add a new line to include the new directory that we want. The directory is inside of the Ogre SDK. I'm just going to go directly to it, and let's just go in and browse for it. The folder that we're looking for is inside of the samples folder, and it's the include folder in the samples folder. That's the one that we're looking for. Just double click it and click open, and that's the new include directory that we want, which is necessary to get the example application going. Click on OK twice here, and now let's start coding this out. What we'll do is we'll include the example application. So hit the hash key, that's shift 3 by the way, and hash include example application.h. So now we are including the example application, and we can make a class out of it. So let's get around to doing that. We'll go in and make our own custom class that is built out of the example application that we can use for our own needs. So let's declare the class. I'm going to comment as we go along so we know what we're doing. Commenting is a good habit, so I'm going to type what we're going to do just now. We're going to make a subclass out of the example application. Now let's go in and declare it. So type in class, and we can give it any name that we want. Just make sure that whatever name you put in here, you refer to that class in the rest of the code with the same name. So I'm going to call it XSI app, and we're going to derive it out of the example application. So let's go in and I forgot to type public in here. So public example application. Let's open and close curly brackets and end this with a semicolon. Don't forget to close that in there to end the declaration of that class. So we have our XSI app class. Let's go in and make the constructor for it. And this is what gets run every time we make a new instance of the class. So type in public colon so that your code outside of this class can have access to it. Type in XSI app, open, close parentheses, and open and close curly brackets. Let's go in and complete this out. We'll type in protected colon, and one of the functions that we're going to override is void create scene is this one. So we're really passing it nothing, and we're returning nothing out of it, but this is where we can go in and type the code so that we can load our objects into the scene. And in this case, we're going to load our XSI character here. So this is the code that we'll use to add lights and all the different objects in our scene. We'll get to that soon. Let's go in and create a frame listener. We'll get to that as well. This is where whenever we start wanting to move objects in the scene and stuff, we'll take advantage of some of the code in here. We'll get to that pretty soon. But for now, let's just type that out. And it's a good idea to make use of IntelliSense if your compiler can do it. Just hit Control Space. If your IDE can do it, rather. Just hit Control Space if you're using Microsoft Visual C++, and you can just go down this list till you find the particular command or function that you're looking for. We're looking for create frame listener. So as you type it out, you'll see that you can get access to it immediately. And this can, if you hit enter, it'll put it there, so you don't need to type the whole thing out. And we're actually going to create our own frame listener class pretty shortly, but let's leave it at this for now. Now let's go and type in the main code that gets executed the moment we run the program. Let's start off by typing hash if ogre underscore platform, all in caps, is equal to ogre underscore platform win32 hash define win32 underscore lean and mean. Lean and underscore mean. Hash include in the next line, open quotes, windows.h, close quotes. So essentially what we're doing here is we're saying if we're running Ogre for Windows, just go in and define win32 lean and mean, which makes sure that we only use the Windows making code that we need. It's not going to include a bunch of other stuff that may not be necessary. It's just going to give us a cut down version of what we need to go, just a little bit for efficiency. Now let's go ahead and type in the function that gets run. So int win API, capital W win, capital M main, open curly brackets, h instance, H capital I inst, comma H instance, all in caps, comma LP str command capital C command capital L line, comma int. And now it's just good. This is just going to get run whenever our Windows gets made initially. So that's the code that gets run at first if we're working with Windows. If we're not, just do #else, and we'll just do it for the console. So int win main, just main, open parentheses, int argc, comma car, pointer to our pointer argv. So we have that in there, and if. So that's all of this is just saying, if we're running Windows, go ahead and start off here. If we're not, just start off here instead. And then we open and close curly brackets. So all the code that gets executed at first will be in here. So the first thing we'll do is create an instance of the XSI app that we just built. So let's go ahead and make an instance of that. Make an instance of the XSI app. So we'll just type XSI app, and then we'll give it a name. So I'll just call it my app. So we're just making our own instance in here. So if we want to start rendering this example application, we can do it very easily, but we'll first try and do it just in case if there's an error, we have a way of feeding it back out. So just type in try, open and close curly brackets, and in this try area here, we'll type in my app dot, and you can see the moment I put the dot in there, I have access to the IntelliSense. We're going to go ahead and type in go, and this will start the rendering. I'll just put a comment in here. Start rendering. If there's an issue, we'll go ahead and catch it essentially. So type in catch, open parentheses, ogre, colon, just to get this particular exception from that class. So we can just type in EX, and there it is, exception. Hit enter, it'll put that in for us. And get the address at E. Open and close parentheses. So now once again, if we're going to be working with Windows, we'll bring up a nice Windows error. Otherwise, if we're not, we'll just print this out to the console saying what the error is all about. So instead of going in and retyping all of the necessary code, I'm just going to copy and use only parts of this if else statement in here. So let's go ahead and get rid of all the define and main stuff in here. We only want the if, else, and end if. So if we are using Windows or whatever, we'll just go in and give us a message box. So I'll just type in message box a null comma e. So we'll get the description from the error. So e.get full description dot c underscores. Oops, right there. Don't forget to open and close the parentheses here. And now we can put in our error, so we can just say an exception has occurred. Has occurred. And now put another comma in, and we can just define the way this error will look. So we'll just type in mb underscore OK. So it'll only bring up the option to just click OK. And we'll give it a nice ugly icon, mb icon error. And next, we'll just make sure that the user cannot interact with the application while this error message is up. So just type in mb underscore task model. It's a modelless box. So end it with a parentheses, semicolon. And now let's go ahead and type the code if it's not that. So we'll just output the error, just std 2 semicolon cr. And now we'll just put exception. So this will take it to the next line, so it just doesn't get convoluted. std cr, same thing, but this time over here we'll put the description. So e.get full description. That's right there. Let me just hit enter. Open close parentheses dot c underscore string. That just puts it out for us. And I'll just make sure we go on to the next line here. So we have that. And inside the catch, we'll just go ahead and return 1 just to end that. And now we'll just return, because we have our functions here returning a value, we'll just return 0 at the end of it. So that's all there is to it. Let's go ahead and try and run this. Click on the play button. It'll say, do you want to build them? Just say yes. And we're going to get an error for sure because we haven't done a slightly important step. I'll just say no to continue. And actually, wait, I've got an error because of my code somewhere here. Let me just try and find it. Okay, I didn't end it with a semicolon. Let's try and run it again. And we're going to get that error I predicted. But the one that we're going to get is mainly because the Ogre main, the DLL, the dynamic link library that we need to use to run the code, it cannot find it. So we'll need to actually copy that over. So let's go ahead and do that. We'll actually proceed and do that in the next lesson. This is a good stopping point. So in the next lesson, we'll copy some of the necessary files so we can get our application running.